Liberty, and today I'll be presenting my project, Constructing a More Modern World. So the topic of my project is automation, which is the use of technology to complete tasks that would normally have been conducted by humans. So an example of this would be like industrial robots in a car manufacturing facility. So normally, well, a while ago, this was done by humans, like with Henry Ford and his assembly line idea. But recently, this has been taken over by robots, which are able to do these tasks a lot faster and save materials and just be more efficient overall. So to conduct my research, I asked myself the question, what are the most significant ways in which the increased use of automation affects our society, and do the benefits outweigh the negatives? So going into my project, I did not know a whole lot about it. I heard a lot of stuff in the news of people being afraid about automation taking jobs, but while going through my research, I discovered that a lot of the benefits actually made up for the negatives. So there's a lot less material used in production now, so there's less waste. Production costs have decreased, and the time it takes to make things has also decreased. And overall, I think that there might be some solutions that could fix the problem of unemployment. So this is a graph made by two researchers. It's called the Great Decoupling, and as you can see, the top line, that is production in the U.S., while the bottom line is employment rates. So recently, in the year 2000, the employment rates and production rates have begun to diverge. So that's just showing that less humans are needed in jobs, but the U.S. are still able to produce the same amount of money they were making before. And this ties in with this next graph, which is shows employment in the manufacturing sector of the United States. And you can see again in the year 2000, employment in the manufacturing sector has dropped significantly. So some people have attributed this to China joining the World Trade Organization and a lot of the jobs moving overseas. But further studies have shown that actually 85% of the jobs lost were due to automation and not foreign trade. So one of the solutions that I believe it's all this is educating the youth is that there will be less jobs in the manufacturing sector when they grow up, so they could focus more on maybe getting like an engineering degree or maybe like teaching, and just a lot of the jobs that are less likely to be automated. So at a young age, if they know that, they'll be able to go through the school system knowing they don't really have the fallback of a manufacturing job like what kind of assembly line. And there's another solution which is very controversial, and it's called universal basic income. So this is where families would receive a set amount of money each month that they could spend towards whatever they need, like food or housing or anything like that, and they could focus less on trying to like make money, and they could like find a job easier and they receive money. It's just it makes their life easier, less focus on having like find a high-paying job, which there will be less of due to automation. So this has been tested in the U.S. 4 times before. The first time was in 1968 to 1972, and over 1,300 families were part of the sample size in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and they found that high schoolers were 25 to 30% more likely to complete high school, which is, I'd say, a pretty significant increase. And other countries that are testing it, Canada is planning to test it, I believe, in Quebec, starting either later this year or next year, and Finland is also currently testing their universal basic income. So it's kind of, it's a very controversial topic. Some people think that it's just going to cost way too much, taxes will be increased, but other people believe that it'll help our society a lot as we're able to just focus on like living life instead of like having trouble finding jobs. So there's another problem with automation, and that is safety problems. So when people are operating machinery, there's a lot of dangers like movement going around. It's very big machines, and it can kill people or harm people. And in the year 1997, 189 people were killed by machinery in manufacturing. So one solution I propose is the use of an artificial skin across the top of the robots. So this is currently being tested in certain engineering firms. And pretty much you have an elastic membrane over top of these pigs. As the membrane is pushed down, the pigs can sort of like sense how much pressure it is. So if they go down a little bit, the sensor will be able to determine based on light being emitted to a detector how much of the detector is being covered. So if it's covered all the way, then they know that the peg is all the way down. There's a lot of pressure being applied. And if it's only going down a little bit, they know that there's not a lot of pressure, not a problem. But if all the robots are outfitted with this layer of skin, then humans will be able to interact with them more. So let's say they need to like shut down the whole line, they can maybe do like a three-finger touch and just be able to shut that down and um, uh, make the manufacturing facility like safe again for people to operate the machinery or fix them. And this also could be helpful in the future when robots maybe become like assistants in homes or something for like elderly if they're trying to like get around the robots and stuff. It's safer because they'll be able to like sense humans more. So I believe that once all of these problems have a solution, the general public will become more accepting of automation and it'll just have an easier transition to society. And I believe that'll drive down a lot of the costs of our products and they'll be able to produce more efficiently and see. So for my internship, I went to MCD, their control engineering firm, control systems engineering firm. And what a control system does is automate certain tasks. So in this case, you have the fluid input and the fluid output. So normally a person would be watching, or a long time ago, people would be watching the water level and then be adjusting a valve to change how much water is being outputted. So if they need to maintain a certain water level in this tank, it will just watch the water level, open the valve more to let water out. But with the use of a control system, sensors will be able to take in the inputs from the tank to determine water level and then adjust accordingly as the data is processed through a programmable logic controller, which is pretty much just an industrial computer. That just takes the data, figures out the necessary actions that need to be taken to adjust to the what they want the solution. So my mentor, his name is Robert Wright, and he showed me for the first day, he gave me a tour of the facility. It's split up into two parts. So one half is like office cubicles where people are like programming the control systems or just designing them, and the other half is the manufacturing. So as you can see here, there's a group of control systems that are being finished and being prepared to ship out. In this section over here is where they build the large cabinets for housing the control systems. In the back corner, there's a place where they're building smaller control systems, and then there's a shipping area behind that wall. So currently their project, or their big project, is to design tilt boxes along a fence that's for a metro. And one of the things that could happen is a car could crash into the fence and create danger for trains and maybe people inside the car. So the tilt boxes, they'll be able to determine when fences hit, and they'll tilt, and people will be able to see where the tilt happened, or the breach in the fence, and be able to go and fix it. Yeah. On my second day, I met with different people from the company, like the program management and other engineers. They show me what they do, and two of them actually let me interact with the different parts of the control systems. So I got to test one of the tilt boxes. So I put it on a stand and ran it through different angles to see if it passed or failed, which it did pass. And then the next time I met with someone named Wes Holcomb, and he allowed me, or he taught me how to program control systems. So he set me up with this cabinet, and I was able to program some simple things like button inputs, and then having like sound outputs and things like that. I thought it was really interesting. The program manager, who I met with first, he told me that what makes a good engineer is one who's able to know that it's not just about creating the best design to solve the problem, but it's also to know that there's like a money constraint. So you have to stay within the like you have to have the budget. You have to stay within the budget. You just want to create the best solution. Like it's cool and all, but it's not actually like viable for the company. So then that led me into my community service, which is Habitat for Humanity. This man, he's David Forbes. He's kind of the communications group for the Greene County branch. But for the first day, I did not know about the Greene County Habitat for Humanity. So for the first day, I went to the Charlottesville Habitat for Humanity, and I worked on painting walls. So they gave me like a ruler, and I went through, painted the walls, and I also did some cutting in, which is along the corners of the ceilings, where I would take a brush and just get in the final touches. But then when I figured out the Greene County Habitat for Humanity, I went there. It's a much smaller group, and we were working on renovating this house, which is very old. So I had to rip up the floors because they were old, they were kind of decaying, and so I was taking out the nails, and then we started ripping up the laminate and stuff. And for the second half of that day, I also was lining up drywall with a man named Rusty, who was teaching me how to like measure and cut the drywall, and then how to install the drywall screws. And so that on my second day, I was actually ripping up a section of the floor and replacing it with more plywood. And so right there, I am taking out some screws with a electric saw, so I'll be able to slide in a new floor and fix what was some water damage. And then on the last day, I actually led in the cutting and measuring of drywall, which is kind of interesting. I haven't done it before, so I had to like take like a tape measure, go along the wall, see where the outlets are, and cut out for those. And then I was helping some other people as they tried to install the walls. So I kind of like, and yeah. So what was significant about the community service is now there's a house in the community. So less fortunate families, they're not able to like fully afford to live in like these neighborhoods. So with Habitat for Humanity, they're able to help work with the organization and then be able to purchase the house at a lower price. So it's good. It helps people stay off the streets and be able to like become more integrated into the community. And then also, I learned through my internship that I want to stick with engineering, and control systems engineering is actually a like a subset of mechanical engineering. So after a few years, or the first like couple years of mechanical engineering, you're able to like refine if you want to like go to control systems engineering, you can do that. But I think I'm just going to go to school and like kind of see if that's something I want to do. But for the most part, I just want mechanical engineering. So for college, I plan to attend the Virginia Tech College of Engineering this fall. And then after graduating, I hope to get a job at SpaceX and work on rockets. So my advice to future seniors is to kind of always stay on top of your tasks. If you get behind, it starts to snowball as you're trying to catch up, and it's better just do them all on time. It can get really hard once you have a whole bunch of assignments that you're trying to like all at once. Yeah, are there any questions?
I was interested in that graph about productivity and employment diverging.
Yeah.
And the solution of universal basic income, I think, assumes that the employment is going to that's going to continue to diverge.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you do any research or see any information about projections for that graph going forward?
I don't know about projections going forward, but the same researchers who created this graph believe that 47% of jobs will be automated by the year 2050. So there will be new jobs created, but like 47% of the current jobs they believe are like could be automated. Now it might not necessarily be cost effective, but it's a possibility. Yeah.
Does the government put a market over these workers and jobs loss automation?
So what was that?
Ethical concerns with losing jobs automation is the market for the government owe anything to its workers.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the controversial part of universal basic income. A lot of people believe that the government like should pay a certain amount of money, and that'll kind of like allow people to focus on like different aspects of life, and they can still get jobs. Like it could be like entertainment, or maybe it's like a job where it's just not a lot of pay. Um, it's kind of like it's one of the gray zones. A lot of people think that once automation takes place or takes off, and a lot of manufacturing plants utilize it, that there will be a lot more money like, higher up, so they can tax that now and be able to like pay out accordingly for the jobs lost, like universal basic income. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit it when you said universal um, programs or welfare programs are pretty controversial. So can you think of a way around that that would help these people, help stay participating members of society that is less controversial?
Well, that's why the main solution that I prefer is further education. So there could be like uh, like uh, like educational facilities, kind of free job training for people to like go into other work, like restaurant work. Like there's robots that can like make food, but I don't think those jobs will be automated for a while. So there's definitely like they could do job training to restaurant work and things like that. But there's other jobs, and I think that there could be just facilities set up that could teach people how to do this kind of job. Yeah.
Okay, so this may sound silly or not, I'm not really sure. But could machines like be making other machines?
Yeah. And actually, there's a 3D printer that can 3D print like another.
Okay, that was a good question. Never mind.
It seems like we're moving towards a society where lifelong learning is going to be like a component, maybe to high school or to college. It's not going to be enough to just get a degree anymore in one thing.
Right.
You may want to take a lifelong learner and retraining every 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, because with automation, like with the prediction of 47% of jobs being taken over in 2050, there's going to be like a lot of like turmoil in job scenes. So people will have to kind of like keep up with that. And yeah, education, I like that. Yeah.
It's a nice coincidence that you presented this today. There's like an ongoing segment on NPR about this week. Like every day they're talking about this and sort of how jobs are becoming, what jobs are robot proof or automated proof. And it seems like the ones with like soft skills are the ones that are still going to be.
Yeah, one of the
interesting coincidence.
One of the things I looked at, I think it was an NPR website where they had like a tool to sort of check jobs to see the likelihood of them being automated. It's kind of interesting.
Like looking at your community service, in your opinion, do you think that like automated technology can help renovate and create buildings faster than people doing it generally?
Yeah, I think it could. So on the last day, one of the things I did was lay in hardwood floor, and it took forever to just put in as like a single row of the wood. So I think it would be a lot easier for like maybe like a machine to sort of. So one of the big things is trying to like sort out the different lengths, and then we also had it took a very long time to kind of nail them in. So I think there definitely could be a machine that sort of sorts out the wood to predetermine like where to place them in the puzzle, and then there could be like a machine that goes along and just nails them in and just set that up in each row. And I think it could be a lot faster.
Extra credit, Colin, if you can create a room of the student, I'm ready for vacation.